it is Saturday, July 31st, and I'm here today with another weekly reading wrap-up. I only read 3 books this past week. 2 of them were pretty big, however, and also we were gone for half the week, and I only brought 1 book, which was a dumb move, but, you know, you live and you learn. But first up, the first book I read was actually a manga. That is Bleach Volume 25 by Tite Kubo. Bleach was my very first anime manga that I ever got into way back in the 8th grade, and basically follows this kid who has always been able to see ghosts, and he tries to kind of help him move on, but one day his family gets attacked by a monstrous ghost called a hollow, and a girl shows up and turns out she's a soul reaper, and it is their job to, you know, kind of defeat hollows and protect the world of the living. Anyway, she ends up getting grievously hurt, and she gives pretty much all of her powers to our main character here, and it's a very fun series. I loved it a lot as a kid, and rereading these, I really enjoy it still. I'm not rereading them in any order. I'm just like, whatever pops up in the book wall, I'll read. So like some of the later stuff I'm not familiar with. This part though, I never read, but I know I watched in the anime. This is when he's dealing with the visors, and I just, Kensei Muguruma is my man. He is fantastic. There he is. Love that boy. But it was fun, really fun to read. Honestly, I really enjoy it. It really just kind of brings back a lot of nostalgia, makes me want to rewatch the show. So there's that. I gave it 5 out of 5. Now I started writing it down, so 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Half Sick of Shadows by Sebastian. This reminds me, I gotta put on Book of the Month that I did read this one. I forgot to, but this was my Book of the Month pick for June. This is a Arthurian retelling. It follows Elaine, the Lady of Shalott, and it is supposedly the author's like, this is a feminist retelling of the Lady of Shalott. Tennyson's poem. I believe it's Tennyson. If it's not, I'll put it up there, and I'll be disappointed in myself in my English major. Basically, it follows Elaine and her companions trying to get Arthur on the throne. And I've seen a lot of people have a lot of problems with this one. I think mostly they're people who are a lot more into Arthurian retellings than I am. Like, I mean, like, I watched like a couple episodes of Merlin, and I watched that god-awful King Arthur movie from like 2005 where Guinevere's blue, and I read about like some of the original, like, I mean, I've read Sir Gawain and the Green Knight like 7,000 times. Kind of excited for the new movie. It looks kind of interesting. But I really enjoyed this. I knew that it was going to hurt me. It was just written in a way that let me know that it was going to hurt me. Like, I just knew that it was going to be emotional, and it really was. I enjoyed the characters. There wasn't, I mean, I really liked mostly the relationship between Morgana and Elaine was beautiful. Honestly, I shipped them more than I shipped Elaine and Lancelot, which was kind of her main ship there. I don't know how true to the original source material that is. Like I said, I'm very unaware of a lot of that. I mean, I know the original source material, I know that it's, you know, obviously Arthur and Gwen, but then Guinevere cheats on Arthur with Lancelot, and that's what I know, so I don't know any of that, but I thought they were kind of cute. Lancelot was kind of fun, but mostly Morgana really stole the show. Gwen, I did like Gwen, what they did with Guinevere too. I liked that land. I liked how the author really described a lot of the kingdoms and stuff like that, and how different they all were, and how stifling Camelot really was compared to Avalon and Lyonesse. Is that what it is? I think it is. But I enjoyed it. It did also, the ending kind of gave me Dark Tower vibes, but I might just not be understanding it. But yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. So I think if you're on the fence about this, I would say give it a shot. I enjoyed it. And then, getting away from that completely beautifully written tragedy, got me my very first Richard Laymon book. And if you're unaware, Richard Laymon is a splatterpunk author, so that's like extremist horror, basically. You know, like Gorno's, make it a book. And apparently I picked one of the worst ones to start with, because apparently it's not very good. A lot of people don't think it's very good. People consider it one of his worst, which makes me kind of excited. But I read Savage by Richard Laymon, which is a historical Western Jack the Ripper story. Basically follows this kid who he ends up under the bed of Mary Kelly when Jack the Ripper is murdering her, and he ends up kind of following Jack the Ripper, and then they end up in America, and then it's a Western, and he becomes a desperado for a time, and it is just kind of wild, kind of fun. It did get a little bit dull in the middle for a little bit, I did, like, there was some parts where it's like, just like, okay, let's just hurry it along now. But for the most part, it was pretty fun. I know a lot of people have really not liked Richard Laymon because of his very juvenile way of writing, not in terms of writing style, but in terms of how he treats female characters. Surprisingly, although this was a Jack the Ripper story, I didn't get that as much as I could have. I've also heard that this is pretty tame compared to some of his other books, which is good. I like that. By that I mean I like that the other books are gonna get more extreme. But I enjoyed it. I am happy that I have a lot more of his books to read. I did purchase quite a few of them past couple weeks, so I do have a lot of them yet to read. I did enjoy it. I think it's fucking wild. I don't know, like I said, like this is the only one I've read, so I don't know how good it is compared to his others or how similar it is to his others, because it does seem to be a very different subgenre than the other ones, because it is like historical and western and weird. But I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. So I'm currently reading some nonfiction essays. I'm reading The Humanist in the Bathtub by Mary McCarthy. She's like a critic and a novelist, and she was in the New Yorker a bunch, so it's very short, so I should be able to finish that pretty quick. These are the books I read this past week. That is all for today. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.